Good morning Class 1 and welcome to Thursday's English lesson. I have been unbelievably impressed with the work that I've seen in English. Lots of you have been using your initiative and thinking of the next steps before we've even covered them in the lesson, so well done. I've been really impressed with your storyboards and the way you have all added imperative verbs to them. Today is finally the day that we're actually going to be writing the instructions for Pedro. So before we can do that, we need to make sure that we've got our storyboard with our imperative verb because we're going to be using that to help us in today's session. When we're writing our instructions today, we need to make sure that we are completing them in our best handwriting and that we're really taking our time to rehearse our sentence out loud first and then have a go at writing it independently. Pedro needs to be able to read your instructions, so your handwriting needs to be really clear, your letters need to be sat on the line, and you really need to be trying your best. So first, let's recap the features of instructional writing. We need to make sure that we include a title that tells Pedro what he's doing and how he needs to do it. We need to make sure that we use a number at the beginning of each step that we write so that Pedro knows what order to follow them in. We need to make sure that our instructions have imperative verbs, bossy verbs at the beginning so Pedro knows what he needs to do when, and we also need to make sure that we have written a list of equipment, so the things that we are going to need to be able to make a tuna sandwich. So now I'm going to insert a clip of the tuna sandwich video that shows us all of the ingredients and equipment that we need. Watch carefully because you're going to be writing a list of things that you need. Okay, so first I've collected the ingredients that I need. I've got 2 pieces of bread, some mayonnaise, some tuna, some butter, a mixing bowl, a spoon for mixing, and a knife for spreading. Okay, so before you start writing your instructions today, I'm going to provide you with an extra sheet of paper that you will need to create an equipment and ingredients list on. So we're going to have a look at that part together now. When we write a list, we don't write in full sentences, we use bullet points to show the items or objects that we need. So I'm going to start by drawing my first bullet point. You've watched the video, so you should be able to identify the different ingredients and equipment that we need. The first thing that I need is 2 pieces of bread. So 2 pieces of bread. Because I'm writing a list and I'm not writing in full sentences, I don't need to continue writing until the end of the line. I can start with my second bullet point underneath to write the next thing I need on my list. So I need 2 pieces of bread. I need some tuna. Tuna sounds like it has a ch at the beginning, so it sounds like it should be spelled ch, una, tuna. But actually, the t is replacing the ch sound, so it's tricking us slightly. The next item that I need on my list is some mayonnaise, so I've added my bullet point. This is a tricky word to spell. A, O, I'm going to use a double N, A, S, silent E, mayonnaise, a very tricky word to spell. So we've got 2 pieces of bread, some tuna, some mayonnaise, some butter, we should be able to spell that phonetically, butter. We need a knife. Knife has a silent k at the beginning. And we've got our split I diagraph and our sensible letter, making sure that split I diagraph is making the right choices. So we've got some pieces of bread, tuna, mayonnaise, butter, a knife. Okay, so I also need a bowl, so I'm writing my bullet point again. And another bullet point because I need a spoon. Okay, so I've written the list of equipment and ingredients I need to be able to make a tuna sandwich, and I've recorded it on my equipment and ingredients sheets. You should do the same now. Now I've written my list of equipment and ingredients, I'm going to start writing the instructions. Now, we recap the features of instructional writing and remembered that we needed a title for Pedro to tell him what he needs to be doing. What could my title be? Pause the video and tell a grown-up what you think. That's right, we're learning to make a tuna sandwich, so my title could be How to Make a Tuna Sandwich. I'm going to write that on the board now. I'm remembering to use a capital letter at the beginning of my sentence. So a capital H for ow, H, ow, how, finger space, to make, using our split A diagraph. So split A with a sensible k in the middle to make sure that our split A diagraph is making the right choices. How to make a tuna. Remembering tuna sounds like a ch, but it's actually a t. how to make a tuna sandwich. And we can remember how to spell sandwich because it sounds, we've got sand at the beginning and then with a w-ich, sandwich. How to make a tuna sandwich. I have written the title for my instructions with a capital letter at the beginning and finger spaces between each word. Okay, now I've written my title and it's clear at the top of my piece of paper, I'm going to think about my first instruction. This is where you can use your story map to help you. On your story map, you will be able to see what step number 1 is. What does Pedro need to do first? Look carefully at the picture, have a look at the imperative or the bossy verb that you've written underneath the picture, and try and say your first instruction out loud. Okay, so I verbalised my instruction. I know that the instruction is get 2 pieces of bread. One of my instructional writing features is to add numbers to show the steps in order so Pedro knows which one to do first. So I've written the number 1 to show Pedro that this is step number 1. I'm now, because I'm starting my sentence, going to use a capital letter for my bossy verb get. G, et. I've written my bossy verb in green just so it stands out on the board and you can see where my bossy verb is. Get 2, making sure I've used a finger space, pieces, another finger space, of, finger space, bread. Now in the word bread, it sounds like an E sound, but it's actually an E sound, tricking us. So get 2 pieces of bread. At the end of my instruction, I'm going to put a full stop to show the reader that that instruction has finished, and then we're going to move on to the next one. Right, before I write step number 2, I'm going to look at my story map again to help me. I can see from the picture that there's a knife and some butter and 2 pieces of bread. And I can see that I've written the imperative verb underneath, spread. So spread the butter on the bread. Verbalise it, spread the butter on the bread. Now I'm going to have a go at writing it on the board. Okay, so now I'm going to write instruction number 2 on the board. To show that it's step number 2, I'm going to write the number 2 so Pedro can follow these steps in order. Now I'm going to remember what imperative verb I need to use. The imperative verb was spread, so I'm going to start with a capital letter. S, p, e, d. Spread. Now, just like in the word bread, we have, it sounds like it's making an E sound, but actually there is an E digraph in there, so it's tricking us slightly. Spread the, make sure I'm using a finger space, butter, butter on the bread. And again, at the end of my instruction, I'm going to make sure that I'm using a full stop to show the reader that that instruction has finished. You might be able to see that Miss King's letters are sat on the line beautifully here, but some of them are floating above the line there. So I might need to edit my writing and make sure that my letters are sat on the line. So I'm just rubbing out my imperative verb because I'm improving my work, and I'm going to make sure that my letters are sitting on the line. Excellent. I've edited and improved my writing. Now we've had a go at writing the first 2 instructions together, I would like you to have a go at writing the rest of the instructions independently. Pedro can't wait to read all of your instructions, and he's so excited to be able to have a go at making his own tuna sandwich tomorrow. I really can't wait to see work class 1. Keep up the amazing work.